Hello everyone, I am Blankara, and today we're going to continue rigging Shalom from Path to Nowhere. I finished the left head turn, and all the hair is in place. Just a minor correction on this little strand right here. I feel like the bottom here is going a little bit too far to the left. So I just want to put him in a good spot, once I remember what layer this is. What layer is this? There's just so many. This one. No, not that one. Alright, just need a second here. It's one of the strands. There it is. Okay. It's like I have a naming convention, so I can hopefully find things eventually. But, sometimes it can be hard to find them all when there's this many. Mid-autosave, I guess. Okay. Get that out over there and see if that's a better spot for it. Close. Need to push the upper part a little bit further there, too. Once I find it. It's that one. Okay. Okay, I can remember that. Just needed to take a quick second to look at it. And now I should be able to find it again in the future. Just right when I don't seem to really need it anymore. Although no, looks like I want to make a couple of small tweaks. Right here is stretching a little bit. Normally I wouldn't care, but it's like right at the color change. So I kind of want to make sure everything's in the right place there. So I think any stretching would be a bit more noticeable when the color was changing like that. And as always, when I get started, I tend to see a few more things. It's like right through here. Let me see, how do I want this to be shaped? I think I want right about here to go a little bit further to the right. That's just how it looks like it's stretching to me. The gentle pulls, gentle areas here. Is that too much? I don't think it's too much, but right here is bulging a little bit, so I think I want to fix that as well. Yeah, there we go, that's much better. Give me a moment to fix my headphones. Are having a little bit of technical difficulties lately. Honestly, they're working fine, but for whatever reason, after hooking up my speakers, my computer no longer wanted to identify the headphones. So I've been having to plug my headphones into the speakers, and the speakers don't seem to like the headphones very much sometimes. So sometimes I only get sound in one ear, or it just sounds very distant and faded. It's very odd. I'm not sure what's causing it. But it hasn't been bothering me enough to make me really want to fix it. It just occasionally sound is unhappy, and generally it's fine as long as I don't move too much. So it hasn't been that annoying. And that's the main thing stopping me from doing something about it. Sometimes I just have to be a little bit more irritated about something before I want to do anything about it. And I'm just fixing a few angles that I felt were off. There's a couple of places. The strand was the main one, and then there's just a few things I want to fix in some of the clumps. That's okay. That's why I always take the time to look at things one more time. Make sure everything is exactly how I want it to be. 'Cause it's a lot easier to spot these mistakes when you have fresh eyes. And now I do have fresh eyes. Because I just got started for today. And gradually, I'll kind of get used to what I'm seeing and I don't notice mistakes quite as well. This is incidentally, if you've been following my Twitter for a long time, why I always sleep on a picture when I finished it. Sleep on it and then post it the next day. I never post a picture the same day I finish it. Never. Never, never. Always sleep on it, check for any last problems, and then I post it. I find it way more effective than just getting overly excited and posting it the same day. So I typically always find one or two things I want to fix. Much like here, you can see I found a couple of areas that needed a little bit of correction. I think it's mostly right, but just a few things that weren't quite working for me. So now I can go fix them and everything will be great. The quality of the finished product will be that much better, just all because I slept on it for one night. It's very nice. It's super easy to do. All you have to do is not get impatient. Literally all you have to do. Just don't get impatient. That's how easy it is. Yeah, so the final spot that I wanted to correct here was this shadow area on the back hair. As I felt like it was going upward quite a lot. And it made it look kind of weird. So I just wanted to fix that real quick. And I kind of feel the same about this little shadow here. I'm going to try to straighten him out. Get him to where he needs to be. And then we can start the hair on the right head turn. Once all of this stuff is good. Because, you know, I don't want to be starting the next head turn when there's still some things that are a little bit off on the one I just finished. I'll be happier if I have that all right. Okay. And, as always, I tend to find just a couple more things as I keep looking. This is the importance of just taking one more look at things before you declare it done. Although maybe I'm weird in that when I declare something done, I mean that I will not be working on it anymore. Like, whenever I post something on my social media, I never go back and edit it again. Never. Once it's there, it's done. All the errors will stay errors forever. And I'm okay with that. Because if I didn't do that, I'd want to just keep reworking pieces forever. And by making that decision, it means that I can move on to new stuff and not worry about the old stuff. And I'll just have funny, embarrassing stories for all eternity. And I think that's good in its own right. Just being like, oh yeah, I totally didn't notice I accidentally gave them 6 fingers. It's fine. And there'll be a story there. I'm sure lots of people have pointed out, but even if they do, I'm not going to fix it. That is the final state. Forever and ever. Thinking about forever can be a little bit intimidating sometimes, but time passes. Life moves on. Can't dwell on the thing that I worked on and the extra finger that I drew. You know, it's funny I use that as an example because I've never actually drawn extra fingers before. I can't actually think of something off the top of my head that I look at it and it just makes me cringe. Like, I have that in my old art, but that wasn't because of mistakes. That's just because I was not as good at drawing back then as I am now. So that's an entirely different kind of cringe, you know? But I can't actually think of one where I had a super big error that I really wanted to go back and correct. Well, we'll see what happens. And honestly, I think part of the reason that I don't have this problem very often, if at all, is because I sleep on it for a night. And I go back and look and make sure everything's the way I want it to be. I've definitely caught a few problems that might have been embarrassing there. Like occasionally I've forgotten some accessories or stuff like that. Generally I find something. But most of the time it's pretty minor. So let's see here. Just kind of trying to fix up this last little bit of stuff here. Dark part, not wanting to cooperate with me again. That's okay. I think I got him. Yeah, there we go. It was just waiting for me to complain. Sometimes I feel like computers do that. Okay. So I think this area is done. Not in the I've posted this on social media, I'm never going to work on this again done, but done in the sense that I don't see anything I want to work on right now. So time to go over here. Terrifying. Okay. Gotta hide the ears. And I think that the only thing I can really reflect is this. And even that I might want to correct a little bit. So now this is where I have to make the big decisions of where does everything go? Where exactly is all this stuff gonna go here? So let's see. This is just kind of preliminary nonsense, so I can kind of do what I want. Move things around with the arrow keys instead of my mouse. That way I can keep things perfectly horizontal or vertical. Generally for stuff like this I only do horizontal movement. I find that matches up a little bit with using the mesh group for initial perspective. In this case, just pushing things a little bit to the left and right, and just pushing it all together as a group. And then I'll figure out where everything falls exactly a little bit later. So the big things I'm looking at are where do the sides fall? And where does the center of the part of her hair fall and her bangs? So I feel like these need to be a little bit more over here. And it's fine if things get a little bit stretched out and stuff. That's all stuff that I correct a little bit later. Everything is going to look a little bit stretched and squashed at this point of the process. I'm still just kind of feeling out where things go. Okay, yeah, something like that, I think. Still looks very two-dimensional, but that's to be expected, really. That's what the purpose of going in there and caring about all those details is about, and why it took me so long to do the left head turn. Because man, does she have a lot of hair. Like, seriously, look at all that hair. Okay, so I think That's roughly how things are going to work out at this stage. I'm going to go ahead and hide the shadows. So this is where I'm going to just start hiding a bunch of layers again. And I'm going to be focusing in on the part of her hair. Basically, the same thing I did last time. So I'm going to go through my layers. I'm going to hide all the strands, all the loops, all of these extra things. And I'm going to want to do once I know where everything else is going to be. Once I know where the main clumps and forms are going to be. Because these little strands are honestly pretty hard to place until I know where everything else is. Let's see, where are they? Strand. Loop. Yeah. So this is where I need to actually be able to read. And it's really hard to talk and read at the same time, so just give me a sec. Strand. Loop. Strand. Yeah, I just kept passing up all these things because I was trying to talk at the same time. Talking, reading at the same time, pretty hard. Strand. Strand. See, there's definitely another strand over here. There's this one. I'm missing one. Where is it going? Probably just showing up every time I decide to try to start talking. Here it is. Okay. And yes, indeed, that is what happened. Alright, so now I have all that hidden. I'm gonna start going bald mode. I think the main thing that I want to get down is this front bang, and then the hair that goes underneath it. So let's go ahead. And we're just gonna go fully bald here. I'm just gonna hide everything. Wasn't initially planning on doing so, which is why I was looking for the strands, but you know what? It's fine. Our only hair is now this ridiculous looking bang here. Looks very silly when it's on its own. Enough to amuse me while I get some of this started. Because unfortunately all of this is asymmetrical, so I just kind of have to tough it out and do it all at once. I cannot just mirror it on over like I did with the eyes. Gotta just do it. If I tried to mirror it, it would look very strange. Strictly speaking, I could, but I don't actually think it would help me, so I'm not going to. Just one of those things. As curious as I am to see what it would look like, I'm not quite curious enough. But I know I cannot just immediately undo it. It's one of those things, you know? So unfortunately, at least in this current version of Inochi2D, I would not be able to just Control Z and undo it. It would be stuck like that, and I'd just have to deal with it. That sounds like pain, so I think I will avoid that senseless pain for the brief moment of entertainment it would bring me. Okay, so now I'm gonna look at these lower strands relative to her nose. All I'm really trying to accomplish here, it's like I get the feeling I'm going to be adjusting this bang quite a lot as I go. It's like I had to on the other side. So my first goal here is just make it look good relative to the eyes. Make it look good relative to the other parts of the face. So that's why we're getting egg mode with just singular bang in all its funny glory. Just feel like this area should be pushed in a little bit. This is one of those things that's a little bit interesting, because over here, this bang is actually pretty far away from this eye, but because her head is turning, I think it should look like it's a little bit closer, but maybe not that close. Finding the right balance between how does the change in perspective on her face change her hair, and how did it look from the front, is always an interesting one for me. I've never been super great at perspective. I always struggle with figuring these kinds of things out while I'm drawing. So, that's one of those areas where I think rigging really helped my overall drawing skill. Because you really, really have to think about it here, because everything is moving. And when things are moving, the errors are easier to spot. And so I got better at finding where those problems are, and figuring out where everything should be. And that's something that will carry over to just regular drawing too. Even if you don't plan to animate it or rig it at all. I have noticed a significant increase in my skill in those areas since I started doing this. So basically what I'm saying is, you can bet that I'm going to continue animating things, whether it be full-on models or just animated illustrations. That's going to keep happening. Because it's a good time, and it's healthy. It's like, man, just imagine if cheeseburgers were healthy. Or cookies. Like, heck yeah, you can eat as much as you want and it'll actually make you strong instead of, I don't know, fatty. Won't give you heart disease, give you muscles. That'd be great. Honestly, now that I'm working on the right side, it feels weird to be dragging this to the right instead of the left. I've had to catch myself trying to go this way a few times now. Because I've been just working on the left for so long. But now we're here, on the right. It's very exciting. I remember in the previous version. Well, I guess it wouldn't be the previous version, but before they introduced the brush tool, I would have had to move all of those vertices individually. With the only help being the Path to Form tool, which would have been inappropriate for the area that I'm working on now. So, oh, I'm so glad that feature's there now. It makes me so happy. I mean, I do still adjust vertices individually sometimes, but now it's only for very, very small adjustments. And that's just so much easier. See, like here, I think I am going to have to adjust a couple of these individually. But I mean, look how tiny that adjustment is. It's totally not the same. The only reason I have to do it individually is because sometimes the brush is just not quite precise enough for those kinds of adjustments. Oh, that's very exciting. Let's see here. Okay, so I think I just have to adjust a little bit of roundness. This is already looking good, though. So I'll be able to do a little bit with the rest of the part. And one thing that's always nice about working on detailed projects like this is I get better while I'm working. I learn new things, the skills improve. And so now that I have to do something again, I think this time it'll go a little bit faster, as I have a better idea of what I'm doing. Learned a lot from doing that left head turn. I've never worked with art quite this detailed before. And now I have a better idea of what to expect. So I can feel the leveling up right as I do it. Feels good. Honestly, if you're a beginner at something and you find yourself taking forever doing something, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Take as long as you need. You'll figure it out. And once you do, and you do it again, it's gonna be like, whoa, I thought that was so hard before, but it's really not that bad now. Feels good. Alright. Just down to manually adjust these vertices here. And let's see. Close, but not quite. It's a bit hard to see against her skin. I might need to hide the head layer and have floating eyeballs again. That was pretty funny the first time. Let's do it. Goodbye, head. I'm really only comparing it to the location of her eyes and her nose, so it should be fine. Don't really need a head for that. Just need the eyes. And it'll be all good. Yeah, I can see much more clearly here. We'll just have a floating face for a while. It's fine. I don't really want it to go up. Just want to adjust how it's pointing a little bit. Gonna spend some time really getting these tips right. It's like the higher parts, I think, are gonna be a bit harder to figure out until I get some of the other layers going. Normally I go from top to bottom, but here I just kind of gotta take what I can get. I don't have good anchors yet. Don't have areas of hair that I know I can trust. I'm just trying to get the first one going here. And because I know that the eyes are in a good spot already, I can use those as anchors to kind of figure out where everything else should be. I've said this a few times while working on this model, but when it comes to rigging, everything is relative. It's like if I only had the eyes, I can pretty much put them wherever I want. It can go literally wherever, and no one would even notice. But the second I add a second feature, people will notice if it's not in sync with where I put the eyes. Because what matters is that they look like they're moving about the same amount. And when they're not, it just looks like sliding. Which is why this looks incredibly silly. Because look, the bangs are sitting still, but the face is moving. And that just looks weird. Brain just can't make sense of it, you know? What I'm looking at here is that there's like a curve like that. So I'm trying to figure out how to get that back in over here. Having a bit of trouble. That's alright. It's not that unusual for me to have trouble with stuff like that. But I think that the turn will look a lot better once I get that right. Things just aren't floofing quite right here. Well, let's see here. Let's see here. Just doing minor adjustments here, because that little tip of the bang wasn't quite turning right either. And I think it's largely because it wasn't facing the right direction. Although I think I overdid it. Let's go try to put that back. And then I think there's a little bit with the space between these two strands here. It's just not working quite right. I think that's another slight problem. Okay. And then this end is a bit too high. Just a little bit, though. You can see the movements here are already very delicate. But I think that looks pretty good. Let's zoom out a bit. Check on those other tips. And we're just going to ignore up here still. That'll come a bit later. Okay, still got a little bit of work on the other tips. But I can do that. That's what I tell myself every time something looks hard. It's like, I can do that. It's okay. I can make it. Sometimes I don't even actually believe it. Most of the time when I've done it on stream, I do, but for some things in real life, I say I can do it, and I don't necessarily believe it, but just saying that kinda convinces me that, you know, maybe I can at least do something. Because it can be pretty easy to dismiss your own skills. And then you just go and you do it anyway. It's fine. Let's see, what do I do here? There's just something over here that's not quite working out for me. A little bit of shrinking, compression. Yeah, and right here needs to be tucked in a little bit, I think. Really wanted to get these tips right. These are right in the face. And the face is just very, very important. So there we go. Okay, and then just this little space between the bangs right here. No, I didn't actually want the brush. And trying to decide things on its own again. I think if I push that over there a little bit, that'll be perfect. It's really close. Really, really close. Now I'm looking at this part right here. This little spot right there. I think he just needs to go down just a little bit. And with that in place, is that good? Yeah, I think it's okay that it kind of groups together a little bit, because the head is turning. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna turn the head back on for a little bit. Because I think I'm gonna need it for this next part. Because I think the next part is going to be these little underneath pieces. This one, at this angle, like I made it more visible this direction. But I think it's actually going to be less visible over here. And for that, I might actually... Actually, I need the other one too. So that's not how they're... Was there always a gap there? That's interesting. I wonder what actually filled that in. Well, I'll believe in myself because I didn't see any problems there on the other side, so... Let's just start getting these parts in. I think this is going to be, like, barely visible now, if it's even visible at all. The one that's really going to matter is the other one. This one. Okay, so in the original, it goes... This part goes, like, right into the eyelid, and this part is, like... kinda... where it starts turning downward. If I look at that... Yeah, I need to move it a little bit to the side here. And using that as a point of contact will make it a little bit easier for me to tell where this side should be too. So something like this, I think. I'll need to kind of floof it out correctly, but... Is this... Okay, I think I moved it a bit too far to the right. Let's push it back to the left. And continue doing the trial and error things that I always do. And figuring out where new parts should be. This time it's just a little bit harder due to the lack of anchors. Lack of areas that I know are correct and can trust. That's why it's so important to focus on these, because these will become the anchors for everything else. So I want to make sure that they are very much correct. And try very hard to get them to where they need to go. They will guide everyone else in the future. It's a big task, but I think they can handle it. I'll probably just go back and forth between these two areas a little while. Figure out where this point should be. Because where they come together, it just kind of forms this little point. And I want to figure out where that point is. I'm just going to do some exploring. Art exploration. Trying things and seeing what happens. Not really that much unlike clawing your way through the jungle when you don't know what you're doing. Well, let's see here. Let's see here. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Need a bigger brush. Did I just accidentally... Okay, I accidentally tapped on this. This little thing here is... Basically, if you click on it, it lets you move things around via translation, and that is not what I want here. I just accidentally clicked on it. I very much just want the brush. It's like transformations are very nice. Highly recommend using them when you can do it alone, but trying to mix transformations and deformations, that can be a little bit tricky. So because I know I want to deform large parts of this, I'm pretty much only sticking to deforming it. Or as on the eyes, like especially with the eye movement. I knew I wasn't going to be doing much deforming at all, if any, so I used mostly transforms. And that's how that works. Okay, so I think I want this side to be a little bit higher up. Not too surprising. I was moving the top and the bottom at roughly the same pace, when mostly I just wanted to move the bottom. Now we just got to get this back on up there, and it's fine. It's totally fine. Okay, this, like, red part right there. I think I want him a little bit more underneath here. It's funny, when her head was turning to the left, I wanted more of this underneath part to be showing. But now that it's turning to the right, it's going to be mostly covered up by the bangs. So I want less of it to be showing. This is also what I meant by I was pretty sure I was going to need a little bit more of an anchor before I could figure out where a lot of these upper areas were going to go. And I think I needed to make the bang a little bit bigger there. Yeah. So I get the feeling I'm going to be adjusting a lot of these areas quite a bit. And it's like right here, a lot of this still isn't 100% right. But it might be as right as I can make it right now. I kind of need more spots to come together and help me figure it all out. This is the only point that I think is super important. And the only thing that's making me not move on to the next part immediately, because I'm not quite sure if right there is correct yet. And I think it's super important that I get that spot and its top equivalent to be where I want them to be. It'll make everything else so much easier once I figure that out. So I still just need to poke at this for a little bit. It's all good. I'm just trying to help out my future self, who's going to be dealing with a lot of this. Trying to make her life easy too. I am sure she will thank me. So when it comes down to it, figuring out these first few anchor points is definitely one of the harder points, and after that, things become much, much smoother. Much, much smoother. Okay, so now I kind of want to adjust the curve here. I still feel like the curve needs a particular energy to it that it just doesn't have. It's not round enough. Not the right kind of round either. You know there's lots of different kinds of rounds? Well, you do now. Can't tell you what they are off the top of my head, but I can feel it. Yeah, this is much closer to the type of round that I think makes sense here. Alright. I still need to kind of get this part itself in the right place. The part where it gets pointy. That's the part that's not quite right. All the rest was there just to kind of help me figure out where some of this should be. Looks a little distorted, so something's probably not quite right. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's still going upward. Okay, I think I'm gonna move these two parts together. I'll just drag this on down. Just made them a bit too high. Let's take a look here. So the part that's bothering me now is the top again. Autosave. Man, it feels like the saving is taking a bit longer now. I always thought I was crazy in that, and thinking that as I went further it was taking longer and longer to save, but maybe I'm not. Maybe it actually does take longer. Okay, I do think it's growing upward just a little bit. So I'm going to take both layers again and just very carefully tuck those down. Something like that. I think this is okay for now. And visit some of the other parts here soon. Very soon, I think. Just kind of funny to see how everything looked over here. As you can see, the skull is all kind of funky, and I didn't really bother fixing it because I know I'd be covering up with hair. So much hair. So much hair. Also feels kind of weird to be doing the side that's getting smaller first this time. It's like on both directions. I'm starting with the same side, so having to work with all these compressed vertices right away. My brain just does not know what to do. Not quite there. Let's pull these a little bit further in. Probably use the brush for this, honestly, but now things are just starting to get so close together that I think I'd struggle with that level of precision with the brush. So I want to be very careful. So that's what I'm doing, and that's why I'm just adjusting individual vertices. Something like this, I think. Just gonna carefully go through here. And man, I am unusually hungry this morning. It's odd because I ate a bit more than usual yesterday. Went out for ice cream with my dad and my kids, and they were very happy. And it was good because I don't normally eat in the afternoons. Normally only eat in the morning. So I ate more than usual yesterday, and yet here I am getting hungrier earlier than usual today. Must be from using more of my brain. Because oh boy, does this beginning part use more of my brain. Like man, even though I can feel my rigging stamina increasing. Ooh, stuff like this takes a lot out of me still. It's like it doesn't seem that hard, but it's tougher than it looks. If it looks cool, I still think you should do it though. Don't be afraid about how hard it is. It's fun. So much fun. It legitimately is a great time. It's just... man, watching the hair come together on that side view there, it's been great. And I haven't even added physics yet. Just imagine what everything's gonna be like once there's physics. It's gonna be like, yeah. Look at all the stuff move. She's alive! She's coming to life! There's more than one reason that VTuber artists and riggers call their creations children. And it's not just because there's somebody playing it. It's like, I think even if they just made a model for their own amusement, they'd still use similar terminology because it really does feel like they're just coming alive. The more you add to it. And I kind of hope to animate more of my future illustrations for similar reasons. I think it'll be fun. And it seems like people are really interested in Inochi2D content, so Inochi2D specifically, just because there's not very many resources for it out there yet. So I am happy to keep making it so you guys can get an idea of some of the process behind it and how to go about making your own stuff. Alright. So this part isn't cooperating with me. I might go look at something else for a little bit, but it's a bit hard to go look at something else when I've just kind of gotten started and just really need to figure out parts of this. And I guess it's almost been an hour, so it's no wonder I'm getting a bit tired. I do not yet have a full rigging stamina bar. It's okay. Legit, as I practice, it has gotten easier and easier to go for the full hour. It just, man, stuff like this is hard. Makes me tired. Having to think so hard. Honestly, being able to think feels good, though. Sometimes I just get into a state where my brain is feeling a bit foggy. But today I'm feeling pretty clear. And life is good. So I will think hard and make cool stuff. My brain, and my hands, and my computer. Alright, looks like it's shifting downward there a little bit. I'll bring this up a little bit. Being extra particular about this point right here. It needs to be, like, as perfect as I can get it. Everything. Like, literally everything I work on after this will be based on the location of this. So, really important that I get it right. Can't half-ass it. It's gotta have a full ass, man. All the way. Alright. Okay, now based on this, I know that this part on the front bang I think it's a little bit too far to the right. So now I know I need to push this in a little bit more. That's why I said that a lot of what comes after is going to be based on how well I do this. But fortunately, I think it's going quite well. I think it looks quite good. Just some spots that need to be fixed. It's not really a problem. I can fix it. I can definitely fix it. Man, but why is it going so far down like that? It's like if you look at this brighter red spot here, or pink, or magenta, or whatever you want to call it. Just looks like it's just collapsing. I'm not quite sure what's causing that. I might need to just... Yeah, it's... Like, I'm definitely bringing it higher. Because I'm on the wrong layer. Okay, that would do it. Back out a little there. Okay, so it's this layer where it's collapsing. Okay. That makes more sense. I feel like that happens more often than it should, where I just think something is on one layer, and it is not. And then I get very confused for a while, because nothing I do seems to be helping. But it's okay, now that I know, I can kind of start putting everything back to where it needs to be. Get everything back in place. Get everything back on track. And focus on getting those things where they really need to be. All that good stuff. Okay, let's see what layer the problem is on. Okay, I do think it is on the other layer this time. Right? You're the one that's broken. Because I did a bunch of stuff that I shouldn't have, and now I have to fix it. Yes. Okay, perfect. It's okay, I can fix it. Don't worry about it. I'll just hide the other layer for a second until I actually do. Because I'm not quite sure how this needs to shake out. I have no idea. Like, legit. No idea. It's okay, it's apparently something like this. Something like that. That's done not quite right, but let me turn the other side on and see how much I have to care. Because part of it is covered, right? Okay, there we go. That already looks a lot better. There we go. Okay, shadow's not quite right. Gonna do a little bit more tweaking. But then I think I might need to look away from things for a while. And that'll probably be a good time to end. It's because I think it'll be hard to add anything more to this for the time being. Something like that. Okay, yeah, I think things are starting to look pretty good. Let's just take a look at a very serene bald Shalom. And we'll end it there for today. And I'll probably have to tweak that spot for a while longer tomorrow. But so far, I think I've gotten a pretty good start. Bang's already looking good, and this underneath spot, I think, is pretty close. I think I'll be able to add some more stuff to it. But for now, this is where I stop. So thank you all for coming. If you'd like me to take a look at your own creative projects, whether that be art, writing, coding, game design, any creative pursuit you can think of, feel free to message or at me on Twitter or Instagram and I'll take a look and maybe leave some comments. I'll see you all tomorrow.